The periodic table arranges elements in order of atomic number. It's organized into rows called periods and columns called groups. Elements in the same group behave in similar ways. Why? Because they have the same number of electrons in their outer shell. For example, Group 1 elements, known as the alkali metals, all have one electron in their outer shell. That's why they're extremely reactive. Now, let's look at metals and nonmetals. If you look at the periodic table, you'll notice a zigzag line. This line separates metals from nonmetals. The elements along this line are called metalloids, and they have properties of both. Most elements in the periodic table are metals. In fact, nonmetals make up only about 20% of all known elements. Metals are found on the left, in the center, and toward the bottom of the periodic table. When metals react, they tend to lose electrons and form positive ions. For example, when sodium burns in air, each sodium atom loses one electron to form a sodium ion. Nonmetals, on the other hand, are found toward the top right of the table. They tend to gain electrons in reactions and form negative ions. For instance, when magnesium reacts with chlorine, each chlorine atom gains one electron to form a chloride ion. Now, let's talk about oxides. Both metals and nonmetals react with oxygen to form compounds called oxides. Metal oxides are usually solid and basic. This means they can neutralize acids. Examples include magnesium oxide, sodium oxide, and aluminium oxide. Nonmetal oxides are usually gases. When they dissolve in water, they form acidic solutions. Carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide are good examples. We can also classify elements as metals or nonmetals based on their physical properties. Most metals have high melting points, so they are solid at room temperature, although mercury is an exception. It's liquid at room temperature. Metals are usually shiny, strong, and malleable, meaning they can be hammered into shape. They are also good conductors of heat and electricity. That's why we use copper in electrical wires. Iron and aluminium are used in pots and pans because they conduct heat well. Gold and silver are used in jewelry because they are shiny, malleable, and don't react easily with oxygen. Mercury is used in thermometers because it expands when heated, and copper has been used for thousands of years to make coins. Nonmetals usually have opposite properties. They are often poor conductors of heat and electricity. Many are gases at room temperature. However, there are exceptions. Carbon is a nonmetal with two main forms. Graphite, found in pencil lead, conducts electricity and has a very high melting point, unusual for a nonmetal, but it is brittle, which is typical of nonmetals. Diamond, another form of carbon, is extremely hard and has a very high melting point. Finally, let's talk about alloys. An alloy is a mixture of two or more elements where at least one is a metal. Most alloys are made by melting metals, mixing them together and then allowing them to cool. Alloys are designed to improve properties, making materials stronger, harder, or more resistant to rust. Steel is stronger than pure iron. Brass is stronger and stiffer than copper. Bronze is harder and more resistant to corrosion. Solder has a lower melting point than its pure metals, and special neodymium alloys make powerful magnets. So, by understanding where an element sits in the periodic table, we can predict its properties, how it reacts, and how we can use it in everyday life.